Ballad of Emmett Till. I'm Q, by the way. So, racial tension in the 50s was horrific and only got worse with the murder of an innocent 14-year-old boy, Emmett Till. Throughout this speech, I will explain the events leading up to the death of Emmett Till, the actual murder itself, and the aftermath. The gruesome murder of Emmett Till has been cited as one of the key events that energized the nascent civil rights movement. Through thorough research, I have gathered enough facts to accurately report on the death of Emmett Till. For starters, let's look at the song I chose. The Ballad of Emmett Till was written by Bob Dylan, originally released July 2nd, 1962, 7 years after the death of Emmett Till. It was written as a folk protest song. And a Chicago radio host said that in 1962, Chicago reported 8,394 busy signals. Virtually all of the listeners were trying to contact the station about the song. So who was Emmett Till? Emmett Till was born July 25th, 1941 to Louis Till and Mamie Till. He was born and raised in Chicago. And many people who knew Emmett said that he resembled a grown man. So how it all happened? In 1955, his great uncle Mose Wright went to visit him in Chicago. Emmett convinced his mom to let him go to Mississippi with him to visit the rest of his family that he really didn't get to see. She also warned him that Mississippi was a lot different from Chicago. So Emmett whistled at a white woman. Emmett was at Bryant's Grocery and Meat Market in Money, Mississippi, owned by Roy Bryant, where he allegedly whistled at Carolyn Bryant. Carolyn Bryant made early reports saying that Emmett grabbed her and was menacing and sexually crude. Reports say that that was a lie. The morning of August 28th, 4 days later, her husband Roy Bryant and brother J.W. Millman appeared at Uncle Mose Wright's doorstep looking for Emmett. And this is when the abduction started. So, according to Timothy Tyson, the author of The Blood of Emmett Till and a senior research scholar at Duke University, he revealed in a 2007 interview that Carolyn admitted that she had lied about Till making advances toward her. The brutal murder. The two kidnapped Till and drove him around the car all night, and they stopped at Millman's tool house where they started the beating. Then they drove him to the Tallahatchie River, where they made him carry a 75-pound cotton gin fan, made him strip, then proceeded to beat, castrate, shoot, lynch him, and throw him into the river. He was also tied with barbed wire, and the fan was tied around his neck. So, Emmett was just 14, and no act he could have ever committed deserved treatment like this. The death of Emmett Till not only displayed the obvious racism in Mississippi, but also was the push that helped spark the civil rights movement. Thank you.